champions, and welcome back to What's My Role, episode 16. We're a group of adventurers exploring the many realms of World of Warcraft and MMOs, sharing our experiences, learning our roles together, and embracing the chaos. I'm Bean, joined by Donnix.
Hey.
Golden.
Howdy.
And VindowViper.
Hello there.
And today we're talking all about the new War Within info that has come out over this last week. I think specifically we're probably going to talk a little bit more about warbands just because there was so much more info than I realized out on it already. But we'll kind of just see where the conversation goes as well. Channel updates, nothing really new going on. We can just do Week in Warcraft. So really, it was, I think last night's the only night we really played. Well, we did do, What did we do on Friday night? Nothing really, right?
Is that the night that we smashed our head into a wall? Wasn't it?
No, we did some normal dungeons with another new guildie.
That's what it was.
I don't know what he wants to go by yet.
Yeah, we'll wait.
We'll have to tell them to give us their gamer tags or whatever so we know what to refer to them as instead of just new guys. But we were trying to get him leveled because he had to make a new character on our realm. So we did some normals and then we were trying to power level him a little bit. In the Honoran Plains, there's a spot where there's a bunch of rares and elites. And then last night, how many did we end up doing?
4?
4? We did about 4. That sounds right. So we were just kind of pushing somebody's keys. We were just trying to go as high as we could just because, Season 4 starts. By the time this podcast is out, Season 4 will have started. So there's not really anything meaningful we can do besides just push as hard as we can. And I think, what was the last one we did? It was a plus 12 Darkheart Thicket, yeah?
Yeah. Last night.
That becomes a 2 in the next patch?
Yeah. Season 4, a plus 12 will be about a plus 2, yeah. But I think it went really great last night. We were doing it with Aspen, me, Golden, Donnix, and one of the new guys. What's his character's name?
Thaladred?
Thaladred.
So.
Yeah.
What class?
Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter, yeah.
So yeah, and all the DPS was killing it. It was going very smoothly. I think we could have kept pushing higher if it wasn't getting so late. We probably would have. Yeah. But overall, good night. What did you think of it, Golden and Donnix?
Go ahead, Donnix.
All right. No, everything went great. DPS was super solid. We had a couple hiccups, but nothing major. I don't think we had any wipes at all. No,
I never died.
No, overall, I think we did really well. We had some people die, but we didn't have any wipes, so we didn't have to restart. So I think was it just the one time during Galakron's Fall, the first boss? I think we lost 2, but you combat res 1 Bean, right?
Yep. And we finished it off. But yeah, it was mostly smooth other than that. And then there was maybe a sketchy pull or 2 in that plus 12 Everbloom. But,
yeah.
It wasn't anything. We made it through it just fine.
And quite honestly, a lot of it is we had Thaladred, who doesn't have any... He has experience running Mythic Plus. He's a really good player. But he hasn't had any Mythic Plus experience in Dragonflight dungeons. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different game.
It up on y'all.
So a lot of it was just we were just hey, this is what happens. All right, let's go. So he had to kind of figure it out as he went, but still overall went really well.
Yeah, it was great. Did anybody do anything else? Oh, Donnix, you were just saying before we started.
So I did a couple things. So after you guys got off, logged off last night, I did my Warlock Green Fire quest.
Oh, nice.
Which was kind of a trip. And then I found another little customization quest for Warlocks to get a different skin for the imps. which was really cool. It takes you to the Dark Moon Fair, and you're kind of dealing with some stuff there. It's kind of a cool little quest line.
Oh.
And then I finally pushed through Shadowlands and got the Dark Ranger customization, which
you were just having a blast with that the whole time, man.
Dude, that was so
think you were doing that like all day today, weren't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to get it done, so I didn't have to I still have to do this or whatever. I just busted it out, and it sucked. I hate Shadowlands so much.
First time through Shadowlands Live was cool, especially for all like the old school fans, because all the little things like Uther and Arthas stuff and Draka and all the like lore stuff that was going on was so cool. And then everybody was like, I'm so glad that they have the Threads of Fate or whatever that they called it when you just made a new character.
Yeah, so you can skip all that.
And it's true. I mean, they tried to go the Final Fantasy 14 route where they're like, let's have a main story through the entire thing, which they did with Dragonflight as well. But Dragonflight felt a little smoother, a little easier in my opinion. But
I think Dragonflight feels so nice because you have dragon riding.
Yeah. And you get it early. You get it
yeah.
I thought you got it like at 61 or something like that. Like
even like almost right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes such a big difference just being able to have that mobility, because it doesn't bother me if there's a bunch of quests in a row because I'm just zooming around.
Yep.
And then, Shadowlands is much more of it's kind of a drag, really. And I kind of did enjoy some of the story the first time through, like the Draka stuff was pretty cool. But yeah, going back through it, it's incredibly slow because you can't do dragon riding there.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fly.
I was going to say, did you ever get flying or did you have to finish like the main story before it unlocked flying?
You had to get into your Covenant campaign before you got flying.
Yeah.
And just like a little backstory on this is the account I'm playing on is a new account. My old account, I already went through all this stuff. So I had to do it again, like it was the first time. And it was just brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Gotta love it. Okay. Well, I think that's everybody's week in Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get into, do we want to start with the Warband stuff, or did anyone want to go into something else quickly before that?
I mean, I want to talk about Delves, but we can do that at whenever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there is a whole bunch of stuff about Warbands that came out. And I'll start with the bank stuff. So the Warband Bank, you can trade your gold across all your characters and realms, and I think it's the only things that you can't do is like go from region to region. So you couldn't be like trading gold from EU to the Americas or whatever. There's 5 purchasable storage tabs with 98 items each. Each tab costs gold, like an increasing gold cost. And I'll read the prices real quick. So the first tab's 1,000 gold, second tab's 25,000, third tab's 100,000, fourth tab's 500,000, and the fifth tab is 2,500,000. So the total to buy all these tabs is 3,126,000 gold. So it's a bit of a gold sink. What does everybody think about that? Because it's kind of a huge deal, right?
I think the cost is a little excessive, but
right.
I think WoW has to or tries to balance like cost of things with like the rates at which you can receive gold, right? So I think there's obviously you don't want to make it so easy, right? They want you to. It's another reason to get gold, right? If it costs a significant amount of money, so I think it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's definitely expensive, but I'm not going to complain because this is something that should have been in for a long time.
Yeah,
long time.
Yeah, and this is going to affect people that are like in the markets, that have been in the markets a lot more than even me, because I've never had more than like I don't think I've ever had more than 100,000 gold at any point. So it's not like as big for me because I don't have enough gold to even be transferring it between characters really. But people that have been in the game for a long time, this is probably just amazing because they don't have to be mailing their gold between all their different characters.
Well, I wonder too if there's going to be an increase in the amount of gold we accrue in the next expansion. That might balance that out a little bit, because I've always noticed, like, I don't know if it's been this way recently, but in the past it always felt like 500 gold was a lot of gold, and then into the expansion, oh, now 10,000 gold is a lot of gold, and then to the next expansion, oh, now 50,000 gold is a lot of gold. So
almost like it's inflation occurring in the game.
Yeah.
And that might be directly tied to the WoW tokens.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
So I don't know if have you delved deeper into the Warband stuff, or are you just talking about the bank?
No, I've got a bunch of stuff pulled up for after the bank, like the rep and achievements, currencies, Warbound until equipped gear, Transmog. There's a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to talk about too. Okay, cool. I was just talking about the bank first. If there's something you want to like jump to, go ahead.
I got multiple alts. I love leveling in WoW. It's like my little weird pastime thing where it just kind of, just get in. No one else is on, so I can just kind of throw some XP at something, level it up, and just play. And so it's fun to level. As much as I want to level quick, it's still just something I pass my time on. They're now introducing what they call the Warband Mentor achievements. So every time a character reaches level 80, up to 5 characters, you're getting 5% increased experience up to level 80 for the rest of your characters on your account.
Yes, and this is a point that I was going to ask Golden, actually, because we were 2 weeks ago, we were talking about, the leveling, and, some people enjoy it like you enjoy it a little bit, and then people like Golden just want to throw $60 at Blizzard instead of leveling.
I don't want to throw $60. My time is more valuable.
Donnix wants to.
Sure, I don't want to either. I've given them enough money, but...
It's not a want to have to pay. Sure. It's that I value, for me, and it's not to say there's anything wrong with how
You're not
Viper.
It. I get you.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like it's not worth the time. Mm-hmm. So to me, the time costs more to me than just dropping $60. Right? It's not that I want it to cost $60.
And I agree.
Money at all.
I agree, because leveling for me is more like sort of therapy kind of thing. It's like when you I play Warhammer tabletop, and there's like the putting the models together and painting them, but most people just want to get the stuff and play. Just like you want to just get to level 70 and do your end game. Like that's where the fun is for you. And I get it. I mean, because that's like the whole point of the game is really that. But I don't know. I like leveling just because it's just kind of weird.
I want leveling.
It's almost like something to zone out on,
leveling. Right? But I want leveling to be an enjoyable thing, not just the end game for me personally. So I know you enjoy it the way it is now, but for me, I don't. I want that to be enjoyable. So it's not that I want leveling to go away. I just want it to have a different approach, which is coming, right? With the delves. Yeah. So that's awesome, because it's literally what we were talking about, just like Bean said.
Well, depending on how this time walking pandemonium thing works, that might also be the new leveling.
That was the other thing I was going to ask him about, like how he feels about that.
I think this is amazing. I think it's great that we're getting potentially, like, right, let's say they continue with the time walking stuff as a way to do stuff, not just with this whole, return to the mist type deal. If they continue to do that with the past expansions, I think that'd be fantastic, because then you'd have delves, you'd have traditional leveling. Well, for what traditional leveling is now, which is you basically doing bits and pieces of old expansion till you get to current content.
Till you hit,
right. So you're going to have a lot more options for leveling, and I think that's what's exciting for me, is to have more options of how do I level. So I think it'll help me get back into it.
Okay, and were you going to have some more thoughts on that? The achievements you were bringing up.
Not did you have a point? I guess, but more of the leveling. I don't know if you had some goodies. I was looking through your list. I apologize, but I'm trying to jump over the place. Are you familiar with the fact that they're dropping the leveling curves?
Yeah,
Or the
that
XP.
too. See, there's so many things that I want to bring up.
Yeah. I mean, just while we're on leveling, if you want to go about it, I'm sorry, I don't want to take that from you.
No, of course. I talk too much in this podcast. No, it was those three things I was going to ask Golden about specifically, but we're kind of just like bouncing around about them. They've changed the like how much experience you need through the leveling process to be essentially a lot less. Oh fuck! I'm exiting out of tabs.
I mean, the big thing they always do, and they do this every expansion, is the last expansion stuff. Like right now, when you level, you get to 60, and then from 60 to 70, it's a lot slower because you're in the current expansion, and so it takes a little time to kind of grind through it and work through it. So what they're doing is they're just kind of changing that again, but they're not just changing just Dragonflight, which is dropping like 75-80% almost of like the requirements.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like 75% to 80% reduction from level 60 to 70.
Yep. It used to require, like, to go from 69 to 70 was almost 400,000 experience, 391,000. Now it's 78,000.
Yeah, and then it's like that almost across the entire leveling experience. It's significantly less XP required to level up. Except for 1 through 10, which is like slightly more XP needed. Yep. But then once you hit to 11, it drops down to nearly 20% less. And then it, goes all the way to almost, 80% at the end there.
Yeah. Leveling from 10 to 50, they're dropping, it's 20% faster now. And it's already screaming fast. I mean, you guys saw what it was like playing a classic. It was slow back in the day, and it was grindy. Oh, yeah. It was monotonous, but there was a pride in like, yeah, man, I got 2 level 60s, and you're like, what?
But it was also a newer experience then too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's aged a little.
So now getting to, in current state, getting to 60 takes, 10 hours, 9 hours, and that's not even that hard, to be honest. That's taking it easy.
Yeah. So if you pair that, the experience needed curve with these achievements where once you get 5 level 80 characters, it's 25% experience buff. So it the way it works is each character you get maxed, it goes up by 5% up to 25. So it's really just it just really addresses a lot of your leveling worries, where it just speeds up that 100%.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the key takeaway, I think, is that I wouldn't have been happy if maybe I'd be a little happier, but if they were it only takes 2 hours to level, or 3 hours, or something like that. I don't think that's an answer either, right? I'm not saying there shouldn't be
a leveling process,
a leveling process. I think the purpose of leveling is, in WoW, is to get comfortable with the character that you're learning how to play, right? There's so many storylines that you can't really say it's for story because there's so much, right? That's why you can choose what expansion to level through with Chromie. But it's really more so to get you familiar with your character. And I like that there's going to be more options to do that. It'll incentivize putting that time in versus paying $60.
I also think it'd be kind of cool if they, especially because they're charging $60 for it, it'd be cool if they did a boost system, kind of like how when you do the Exiles Reach for a brand new character, it does teach you how to target and teach you how to attack, like basics, which everybody knows on WoW by now, more or less. But if you boost, if I go boost a rogue, it'd be awesome to have a quick tutorial of, oh, hey, you're doing an assassination rogue.
100%.
Here's a really basic rotation. It doesn't need to be some top tier rotation or anything crazy, but here's the 5 skills rogues typically use, and this is why. And then
that would actually be really great and helpful.
Yeah. And it would be easier for people that, especially new players that haven't come back in forever, and they're getting a free boost. Everybody's getting a free 70 with War Within purchase right now. Doesn't matter which version you buy, whether you're getting the early access or not, it's irrelevant. You get a boost, and so people are boosting a character, and they're like, man, if you haven't played an expansion or two, some of these characters make no sense. Paladins all have the holy power stuff that's only been going on for the last 3 expansions, and people might be out of it, and this is bringing a lot of people back.
Can't you make a test character that will boost to, I don't know, 60 or 70, and you can try it out?
Like the class trial system?
Yeah, the class trials. I think they put you through a little bit of that, but not Probably not as extensive as someone needs if they're just going straight to a boost.
All right.
I've actually never done one of those, so I don't really know how it works.
They're goofy.
Yeah, it would be nice to have sort of a tutorial on a boosted character, similar to. I know this isn't for a boost. This is just whenever you make a new character in, Final Fantasy. You have to go through those trials, and depending on what class you are, or what role you're playing, it's going to teach you how to do certain things at a very basic level. I think that would be good to have something like that incorporated as an option to do or skip for boosted characters.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, that was kind of all the like XP and leveling related stuff, unless anyone had anything else on that.
No, on those.
I think we can move on to the account-wide rep. So, starting with War Within, all rep systems are going to be account-wide, and the way it works is the first character that or the highest rep characters will be the ones that's how much rep you have. And if you do like certain quests that give you rep, the first time you do it with one character, it will give you the rep. And if you do it with any other characters, it will give you the, whatever relevant currency instead.
Right.
And so they'll be going forward for More Within. All, future stuff is going to be account-wide rep. And then I think I had read that Dragonflight will, with the release of War Within, also be account-wide, and that they're going to work their way back through the older expansions and stuff, applying it where it's necessary. And so this is going to be like really nice for everyone, really, especially stuff like Shadowlands, where it's a massive grind to get your covenants, because there's like 80 levels of that.
Well, and the reason I quit playing before was because of rep grinding. I got so sick of it. It's just, you jump on just to do the same thing over and over and over again to, at some point, get to the point you need to be at. And then you're like, oh, I need to level this alt up. Oh, gotta do it again. And it was just too much.
Man, now I'm back to friendly. God damn it.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's like you spent an extensive amount of time in the maw, right? And it was a no mount zone except for that one vendor, and then you had to do the rep grind to get the mount. And it's like, just give me the damn mount and let me
Must I suffer?
Well, you know what I mean? Like, it would have, think about how different of an experience it would have been had you got down there and one of the NPCs you talked to gave you the mount from the get-go. There would be no, you know what I mean? And then maybe it's some frivolous type of monotonous rewards for a rep grind, but it didn't affect your ability to travel to and from inside the maw. Like, everyone would have a completely different take, I think, on the maw than what it was when it came out. So
yeah, it was just miserable going through the maw at such a snail's pace.
And the crazy part is like the maw was like hell for hell, right? Like it was like hell. So it's the idea of supposed to be shitty, but it was like, it's like adding water levels to video games. Like, stop making it just unfun. Make it dark and crazy, and maybe it's even like hard, but don't make
it like Diablo, where it's like badass.
Yeah, so it was like slow by design, right? To like keep you from finishing the content too quickly. I don't know. That's a theory, right? But yeah, not a fan.
They do a lot of things to slow us down to where we're not playing through everything as quick as possible.
Right.
And rep grinds were a way of doing that. Weird stuff like that in the mall. Or like how you couldn't get flying till the very end of an expansion after you ground all your rep out. It's their way of slowing us down, but they don't understand that it's not fun. It's boring.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they recognize how that's okay the first time through, but anyone that has to do it a second time, it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be fun a second time. So it's like, I'm just so glad that they've realized, like, at a base level, that this is not how we should do it going forward.
Yeah, it's
So
nice
it's
that
just an
first time,
amazing
like you
change.
said. It's nice that first time when like it's a brand new expansion and you want to see everything, like see all the art, right? See all the zones, see all the stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't want to like. I know that if you could just fly right from the get go of your expansion, there'd be so much that you wouldn't like see or get engaged with potentially, just for convenience sake. So I do like
fair.
the idea of going through on a brand new expansion on that very first character. But like once you finish the campaign and you've been to every zone, you know what I mean? Like just give it up. Like just give it up and then like let us go.
But did you feel like you missed anything in Dragonflight? Because we had flying from the beginning.
I didn't appreciate a lot because it's such a big zone. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen because we're playing catch up, you know?
Yeah. And that's because we came into it late, right? We kind of came in late. So we went straight to endgame stuff where most people have already done all the exploring. But so actually, yes, I do. When we were on the other night and we were in that zone helping our buddy level up, I had never been where we were. I was like, oh, holy crap. Like, I don't even know this place. And so, yeah, I mean, that kind of bums me that I missed out on that a little bit. But it'll be different from the beginning, you know, when you're actually going through and you're not, it hasn't been out for 2 years already. And everybody knows you're just going to sit at the hub.
And you don't just
go
Google
and jump around.
Yeah, you don't just Google. You don't just do like the meta top thing. You know, everybody's going and having fun shit, and they get to enjoy it. I don't know. I think the interesting thing with Dragonflight with the flying though is that's the first expansion they ever created that more or less gave you flying like right off the bat. It wasn't you got to get to 70 and then do some quests and then you unlock it. And so they built the whole expansion around like high mobility, and I think it works well.
It feels amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
So
but so
are they gonna axe? Like, are we gonna get grounded again in War Within?
I think we'll have flying from the start, from what I've read. And it's also, I don't know if you guys have seen, I think I shared one of the videos where they're applying the dynamic flying to like almost 400 something other mounts that aren't, you know, dragons, and they've each got their own like specific animations and stuff. So you can tell they've been putting in a lot of work trying to make this happen. So it's not everything, but a lot of like, there's like a unicorn mount that it's like galloping through the sky, and it looks awesome.
Druid flight form as
that's another thing.
Also,
that's pretty cool.
Drakthir are getting what is it? I forget what they call it. It's like I want to call it stale flight because it's like the old
static flying.
Static flying. So you can more or less transition between, because when the Drakthir jump in the air, they can then just float as a dragon instead of doing the like. Yeah,
instead of having to do the dynamic flight.
Also, apparently they're coming out with more classes, although that's not going to be a release, I don't think. But it sounds like they're actually like letting you play like a Drakthir priest or something like that, which I think is awesome.
I think that's cool, but I really hate how the Drakthir do not get to transmog like all the other classes, though.
Well,
I hope they fix that because it sucks.
It's like Tauren don't get like boots because their hooves are too big and stuff. You know, there's little classes like that do it. The biggest problem I had with Drakthir is I'm always hitting my transmog to go human or whatever.
That's another thing they're adding is 100% visage. Like combat visage form or whatever
in your human form,
if you want it that way. What's
the point of having a dragon? Then I guess besides the 2 classes that have to, or 3 classes or specs that have to be invoked.
Yeah, them scalies, man.
Yeah, I think WoW is going like in the direction that it's going. Everything sounds really good, right? Well, War Within's not here yet, and I think you can say quite a few of these things objectively, even though we haven't experienced them in game, are all really good things that I think we're going to enjoy.
So a couple other things. I know we're getting a little later than we wanted, but there's a few other things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Warbound until equipped gear is now a thing. So
yeah, I saw that.
When you're playing, you will have, and it doesn't affect your other drop rates, but you will have a bonus drop % chance of getting Warbound until equipped gear. And this gear will be 1 tier below whatever your current tier of that item is. So let's say you're wearing like a hero track item and you get a Warbound drop. That would be a champion level track item that drops. So you can just pop that into your bank, and then any of your other characters, as long as they can equip that, will be able to. And at that point, it will become soulbound to that character. So that's super awesome, because that's just going to make it's a chance of any class gear. So it's just kind of random, I guess. So it could be good for you, could not be good for you, just depends.
Yeah, that's not and that's not affected by trades, right? So like if I understood it correctly, it's like, let's say you get that drop, is it soulbound, or can you trade it? Like, let's say you get leather gloves and one of your alts doesn't wear leather, but somebody else in your party who just helped you kill that boss has an alt that wears leather. Can't you trade it to them? Or was it soulbound?
I think it will be warbound. So it's like anyone that's part of your warbound, because that's the classification of it. Is instead of like soulbound or bound on equip, it will be called warbound until equipped.
And outside of like running old raids and stuff like that, how often do you see non like male, like if you're a male wearer, how often do you see plate or leather? Does it drop currently, or?
I mean, I think
I've gotten stuff that says I can't use because I don't wear whatever particular. But even with it being bound to Warbound, that's great, right? Because we started playing Mythic Plus in different roles, and then we swapped, and we were like, oh, now we gotta all gear back up again. So it'd be really nice if we hit another stopping point or a transition period where we're collecting all this gear for our alt characters, and then we decide, let's change up our dynamic here.
Exactly.
And then the struggle won't be as much of a struggle or to do in a way to get the others leveled up. They'll already have bits of something.
Yeah. Or let's say you just happen to be getting like a lot of cloth stuff, and then you're like, well, shit, I guess I should level a cloth using class, So it kind of gives you some more incentive to try out new things as well, because you will have to go through much less of the gearing up process.
Yep.
And so after that, did you have something to say on that, Donnix? I don't think you spoke on that.
I mean, the only other thing I was going to bring up is it sounds like it's going to be slightly, I can't remember how much of a lower item level than so like if you're on like using numbers that we have right now, like a item level 460 overall character, you're probably going to get like 425 warband bound gear, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily going to be like high level gear for him, but it's going to be, a good starter gear or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I'm not sure like what level of the track it would drop at. Maybe it drops at the same as if you were to get a drop from them, whatever that would be,
Well, if it is like based off the tracks, like you said, so like let's say you get a piece of hero gear for your main character that you just killed the boss, whatever you killed. If it does go off tracks and below hero is champion,
and that's not bad at all.
Sounds like it will be higher than like how 424 is kind of like good gear to like start mythics and things like that. It sounds like if it is that way and things are spaced out the same way they are now as far as the eye levels go, where like all of the tracks from bottom to top kind of have overlap on the way up,
Yeah.
If it works the same exact way, it should be hopefully a better upgrade than just basic Mythic Plus. Like that would be a real bummer if you did an equivalent of a 12 and then the gear that it gave you for an alt is like all the way down to like starting mythics. You know what I mean?
Sure. But yeah, I think from what I read, it will be one track below what you should be getting dropped in that instance.
Because that could be really good for like, let's say Donnix and Viper, you both main DPS right now. So like, let's say you wanted to try out a different DPS and that was the only change we wanted to make to our group. It'd be really nice if you could just say, 1 second, I'm going to jump on this alt, throw on this gear real quick that I've collected and jump back in. versus, yeah, you know what? Maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'll have to
I'll
spend
be
some
able to-
time on my
yeah.
own.
Well,
Right,
it also might
right.
give me even more confidence too. Like when I jumped on my augmentation
100%.
evoker, it wasn't geared, and so as much as it was not just the fact the way augmentation works is already like a lesser DPS, but like the lack of geared helped make it that much feel worse. Even though I probably wasn't that bad, having better gear would be like a little more representative, which would be kind of nice. So.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's kind of pros and cons to both, right? With jumping on an alt and getting challenged a bit more because you don't have necessarily the same hive gear. Yeah.
Speaking of mythics, it sounds like they're bringing like heroic week back.
Yes, I did hear that.
I'm
So
intrigued
all
to
that
see.
that means is what, like the first week you can't run.
They have that 3-day early access, right? So if you buy the $90 version or whatever, you get access early. And so no mythics. It's my understanding. And so hear me. I want to quote him real quick because I'm trying to kind of make sense of it. So he says, this is from one of the guys. He says, so that 3-day access will give folks the ability to play through the story content, level up, go to the max level, but they won't have access to a lot of the Mythic Zero and other opportunities where they can get sets of gear. Then they'll have a period where we'll actually have access to the Mythic Zero system without the season having gone live. Then the season will start and you'll have your heroic week. Then you'll have the rest of the content unlocked.
So does that mean during that whole time that they will be able to be doing mythics?
So the heroic week is usually represented for the raid. And so there's going to be a period, usually 2 weeks off the top of my head. It's been a little while where we only have mythics available or heroics and then maybe mythic zeros. And then they allow mythic pluses to happen. And that's usually also when the raids unlock, or there's might be a little overlap where there's mythic pluses for like a week or two, then the raids unlock. When the raid unlocks, it's what's called heroic week. You can do normal raid, you can do heroic raid, but the mythic raid is still going to be at least be locked to make sure people can all catch up and do it. And I think it's really interesting too with the whole 3-day early access because people are going to be getting max level in a day, at least the hardcore players who are doing the 3-day early access. So by the time the average person gets into the game, people are going to be pretty decked out of like normal and heroic dungeons. But I don't think mythics are open yet.
Well, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about how that would work with the 3-day.
Have you guys looked into for the delves, like as far as like the gear that you can get from delves and things like that?
Isn't it up to +5, right?
Yeah, but I think the way it's going to be set up is that you can't get like the higher gear is still reserved for the Mythic Plus and I think rating, right? So I think one thing that if that's how it's going to be, something that we need to pay attention to if we really want to enjoy delves. Well, we could still go through it just to experience it. But that kind of sounds like you could run into an area where, like, let's say we start off doing Mythic Plus and we haven't really gone into delves. The gear reward's going to be higher for doing the Mythic Plus, right? So it could take away, and I don't think for us, because I think we're going to do the delve stuff for funsies anyways. I could see the incentive for some people to not go back and do delves if they feel like, well, why do delves and take longer to gain like, you know, eye level progression?
When I could just do a mythic or
when you could just jump to Mythic Plus, right? Yeah. So I think that's one thing we'll have to keep in mind too. I think we really want to enjoy doing the delves, and we're not on some type of crazy timeline, right? Like we're just playing the game and enjoying it. But I think that's just something to keep in mind when we go forward with it.
Well, there's what I think they said there's gonna be like 12 different delves. I think I'll just off the bat. And my understanding is that I don't know if it's half or not. I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass at this point. But I believe some of them are already available, like as we go from 70 to 80, and then some of them are only available once you hit 80, and there's going to be required keys and stuff like that.
Yes, that's exactly right. There's some leveling delves, and then there's, you know, beyond that, there's more like end game delves, and they have tiers. You were right. I think there's 11, but I think they had said that towards the end of this season, there's going to be like a final, you know,
a 12
super tier.
13. Or 13.
Yeah, 13. That's it.
Yep.
So a final like 13th one will go live at some point, which is just going to be like an uber challenging type of experience.
Yeah, it won't be an increase in gear level. just kind of like how in Mythic Plus, like you hit a certain point where like you aren't going to get any higher type rewards. So it's the same concept. At that point, you're just doing it to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think that sounds really fun because I've seen a lot of like interviews and stuff where people are kind of like, maybe this is kind of like a Mage Tower thing, where I haven't done Mage Tower yet, but from what I've heard, it's just kind of, you know, really challenging stuff that it's just for fun to try it, you know?
Yeah.
But I think there will also be a reason to do delves is for that that mount, the like customizable mount that you can unlock different pieces for.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of always going to be a little bit of reason for us to do it, even if it's not for gear. I think it will be fun for us to be doing the more challenging, higher tier stuff.
I think it's also good for like let's say I'm on, like I tried, remember I told you I tried out with healing with the Mistweaver, and so I went through like a dungeon with the NPCs. And while that's great and all, and it gives you kind of like an experience, I really like the idea of like, especially for like we have new players like Goat, like that if we're not on and he wants to do some challenge or something that challenges him a bit, he can jump into a delve and like get some more experience and not having the pressure of being in the group, right?
Well,
like the same for all of us.
Doesn't Delve
like
have looking for group too? Like,
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just saying, like, that's great that there's an option. If he doesn't even want to, or if anybody, if like right now, I haven't jumped into a random like looking for group for a dungeon with my Mistweaver because I'm not comfortable yet, you know. So like, I really like the idea that I could in the future make another class that I want to get to know, and I could jump in a delve and get some good challenge. Because to be real with you, the NPC dungeon system, it's not really a challenge for like really telling how well you're doing with your healing or like, you know, some type of supportive role. Yeah. It's more just to kind of walk you through the dungeon.
It's almost kind of like, let's story mode this dungeon. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or
so yeah, that's super interesting
kind of thing.
What did you think about the delves, Donnix?
No, I'm excited about it. It gives us, you know, anything that gives us more things to do that are different is good. Like it gets away from just that kind of straight track of quest after quest after quest after quest.
Yeah, and I think it's really good for us because I know we all like doing the challenging content where leveling for me is like fun to a certain extent, but like we've talked about before, it can be pretty trivial if you're not enjoying the story of a certain quest. It's just like you're kind of just breezing through it, and it's not very satisfying. But I feel like these higher level delve stuff, you know, is going to be challenging and unique as well, because, you know, they are limited in what kind of stories and things they can present to players with dungeons, where it's kind of has this very defined format of, you know, go through the dungeon, kill the bosses, you're done. Where now we can have stories and platforming and hopefully some like really weird stuff too, I think would be cool.
Let's get weird with it. Mm-hmm. Donnix, what do you feel about the new allied race?
I haven't seen that.
Ooh, you're in for
do we want to talk about that super quick? Because the last thing I wanted to talk about with the war bands was just the transmog stuff.
Oh yeah,
that is one thing I'm super excited about.
All right, go ahead and let us know.
Yeah,
let us know what you feel.
Just being able to collect any type of transmog, no matter what drops for whatever class you're playing. So, like if you're running through with a mage trying to farm some stuff, you can pick up plate, you can pick up leather, and it all gets saved to your transmog. That's freaking awesome, because there's been many times that, you know, I'd roll through on my warlock and all of a sudden some cool sword or something would drop that would be like, oh, that'd be awesome for a transmog on, you know, whatever, but it doesn't get saved.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked about that.
It means we're going to be running all the old dungeons a lot more now.
Yeah. But see, I thought the same thing, because I like doing old dungeon runs or old raids with my demon hunter because of the high mobility, right? And it would suck though, because like Donnix was just saying, I'd find gear that was really cool that would be great for one of my alts, but I couldn't have it, right? So it's nice that I can still use my one character who has high mobility to get through fast and still be collecting things that are usable for my other characters. So I think I just feel like there's a lot of good quality of life changes coming.
Yeah. For the listeners, just to specify what we're exactly talking about, the transmogs of any type can be learned by any class and character. So cloth, leather, mail plate, whatever weapons you're picking up, you can learn the transmog for these items. You can also preview all these transmogs in your appearances tab, regardless of what class you're on. There'll be like a drop-down menu where you can select, let's look at the shaman stuff and see how that looks.
Shaman.
Also, anytime you won't have to equip stuff to get the appearance. Anytime you are destroying an item via disenchanting, deleting, selling, you automatically collect the appearance. So you don't have to worry about accidentally getting rid of something and be like, oh shit, I meant to get that for my transmog collection. What else was there? Anything in your bags before that you don't have the transmog for once this goes live, which I hope is with pre-patch. I haven't seen if it's with War Within or with pre-patch. But once it does go live, any transmogs you have like in your bags will be given to you as a part of your collection.
Fill our bags up with so much shit. Let's go.
I know. Well, I'm used to having my bags.
Get used to that, yeah.
Have they mentioned what they might be pushing out during pre-patch and what they might be saving till expansion?
I haven't been able to see specifically what is coming with pre-patch and what's not. I want to say in that image it said Warband stuff was coming with pre-patch. I need to try and find it.
That would be pretty dope.
WoW Roadmap should let us know, yeah. It says pre-patch will bring world events, warbands. Okay, it sounds like all this is coming with the pre-patch. And that's amazing, right? The dynamic flight for all the older mounts is coming with pre-patch and guild updates. I don't know even what the guild updates are. We'll probably have to cover that on another time. Oh, the last thing coming with Warband is the character select scenes. So I'm sure you guys have all seen that, where you get to like pick 4 of your characters and then put them into the scene. That's your character select screen.
It looks like a Dead by Daylight. Everybody's hanging around a campfire.
Yeah. Right. Wasn't Lost Ark similar to that as well? But like,
yes.
It was just all your characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had seen Asmongold when he saw that in his reaction video. He was like, they stole this from Lost Ark. And it's a very good idea that they stole this from Lost Ark.
Go back and play Diablo 2 and start a new character.
Even further.
And they're all
around the campfire.
around the
campfire. Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Can fuck off. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, fuck you,
Clean your fucking room. Jesus.
Okay. They're also developing new scenes other than the campfire, so I'm sure you'll be able to unlock it through achievements or quests, or hopefully you don't have to like buy it.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything about any of this Warband stuff? Because that's our main topic. We could quickly talk about that potential allied race if we want to.
I just mentioned Donnix because he's kind of a fan of that race. So
that race.
Mm-hmm.
Another dwarf.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about the earthen?
The deep. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to share something in the chat super quick. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there is a potentially other new allied race.
See, that's the one I thought you were talking about, and I didn't look into it on purpose.
All right, it's in this chat if anyone wants to pull it. You don't want to see this. Is that what you're saying?
Well, because it looked like it was like a... I couldn't tell if it was for real or not.
I mean, it's data mined.
They got full armor and everything for it, so...
And they have a lot of customizable stuff, which typically means it's going to be an allied race, I guess, from previous data mining.
I mean,
the hell is that?
It just seems like... Are we want to talk about it, or we want to keep it on the DL?
We can talk about it, and then we'll finish the episode.
It's like an orc.
It's like an orc
with an elf, right?
Banged, yeah.
I feel like it kind of looks like vampire, like vampiric a little bit.
Yeah.
Why is it all hairy?
Like fur and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the only part I'm not.
Because
you're talking. Well, we're talking about two races that don't have fur, so like being combined, or at least that's what it looks like. but then it has fur, and then
So,
it's hard
yeah,
to tell. Are there shoulders?
bat.
Are those shoulders also?
They have
Yeah,
like
it is like
these
a bat.
quills. They're
Look-
quills, though.
Scroll down and look at
Yeah.
all like the eyebrow stuff because they pretty much balled it out, and that helps it bat-like
Yeah.
by all means. But like the
They
ears are bat-like,
do look like bats.
the feet are bat-like, either human or
Oh, cool!
like,
So we got another version of a demon hunter.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, if you scroll
Not gonna
even
be so
further down, you
special
can see
anymore.
all the like almost like porcupine quill type deals.
yeah, it's. I mean,
Those are definitely bat ears.
it's
Yeah.
it's a race that I don't think anybody asked for. I'm not going to
Well, where'd
say
it
it's
come
a terrible
from?
idea. I mean, they're going to have something new. It's
Oh, I'm sure,
It's-
but
It's
Well, I mean,
interesting.
people love vampires.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like an entire expansion about it though. Like there's a full raid about it last expansion.
Okay. So yeah, it definitely looks like it's a humanoid. It's a human and a bat, right?
Human bat.
Yeah, I think that's the
But like it's
the
got, like,
vibe they're
orc
going
teeth.
for.
Those first few pictures made it look like an orc and an elf.
Yeah. Well, because I don't
But
know.
you're gonna have to put some of these images up in the video so people know.
Oh
what
yeah,
we're
I'm
talking
gonna
about.
like scroll through all this
100.
as we're talking about it because it's strange looking. Like some of it looks okay. I don't really like the very furry ones though.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not my vibe at all.
female-
Harronir.
The female
Harronir.
like build out of it looks very orcish with like a little bit of elf like ears. And
Yeah.
all the first stuff's almost irrelevant because realistically you're gonna have armor on,
That's true.
and so you're not gonna see most of it. And
Yeah, I guess the
then-
face,
Depending on your
is probably
transmog.
Yeah, you put no,
Face and hair.
100%. But if you put on full gear and like a helmet, everything, you're gonna look like a female orc. At least
Yeah,
the female
I'd be-
model does.
I would be curious though too if having the fur, the hair, the feather, whatever you want to call it. I wonder if that's sort of optional, the amount that you have. You know what I mean? Maybe you can choose to like dial that back.
Well, what if this is sort of similar to like a counterpart to the Drakthir, where they maybe have like other forms, or maybe they can like turn into a bat and fly around or something?
I don't know about Drakthir simply because I don't see anything dragon-like.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying that they are Drakthir, but just they're
Right.
sort of like a similar class.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
type
So now,
deal.
Well, Drakthir had what the Evoker, like they were like hard set in that class. It'd be cool if this came out and had its own class, but I don't expect that, especially with all the hero stuff coming out. I would be surprised if they came out with an entirely new class.
yeah, it would be
It
kind of
would
nice
just
though.
be like
'Cause
a vampire
fun.
class with different,
Well,
like the specs
haven't
would be
we-
different archetypes.
Yeah.
Haven't we had new classes with every expansion? No.
Shadowlands, I don't think had anything, and I don't think Battle for Azeroth. They brought a lot of allied races in Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which got like the
But not new
Quotiers.
classes.
And to be honest, Battle for Azeroth changed a lot too. And then before BFA was Legion, that brought in Demon Hunters. And then before
That's
that
true. We
was,
haven't had one every expansion.
And Draenor
Didn't they
and
kind
everything.
of? It seemed like they kind of would switch back and forth. Like one expansion, you get a new race, and then next expansion, you get a new class.
Right.
And then when Panda came around, you got both.
You got Monk, yeah.
Yeah, you got monk and pandas.
But Cataclysm didn't bring anything, if I remember correctly. Neither did Draenor.
A wad. Yeah.
Yeah, Warlords Draenor didn't. Legion brought the thing. And then we had the Evoker. So we're likely one or two expansions of not new those. But I mean,
Yeah.
part of my fun's going to be if they change the way the mechanics of how your character plays. I feel like that feels like a new class, like how they changed
Yeah.
Holy Power for Paladins, for instance. Like keep going back.
Didn't the allied races start in Warlords of Draenor?
I thought it was Legion because that's when they started doing like the Tauren and the Void Elves and all that stuff.
Yeah, but what about the
Like Maghar Orc or whatever it was.
and the dwarves, the Dark Iron
Dark
dwarves.
Iron.
I think they might. Yeah, were they in as a playable? They were in those expansions, but I don't know if they were playable yet.
I
don't
can't remember
those.
if we got them then or if it was Legion.
Yeah. I remember BFA, it became a lot. The other races were definitely more popular too because you had the Vulpin. Like a lot of people liked
Oh,
the
the
Vulpin.
Vulparian, yeah.
And then Vulparian, yeah. And then you had the.
Fat
Is it
humans.
Kieran Turton?
Yeah,
What are the ones?
Coltaran.
Yeah,
Colterans.
Colteran. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely BFA, right? That's when we got the Void Elves. right? Or not Void Elves. what am I thinking of?
Zandalari
Yeah,
trolls too, right?
The Zandalari trolls and
I think there were two.
Was it
because
what were
they
the
got-
ones?
Horde got
Oh, man.
Zandalari and the Volpera, and then Alliance got the
Got Coltirans and
Mechanomes.
Mechanomes.
Volterans. Yeah, because I think the Void Elves
Yeah.
came from
Yeah.
Legion.
I'm all for it. The more variety, the better. Even if it's not more classes or more, you know what I mean, more hero classes. I think having more options on.
Yeah, I think
what
more
your character
races
is great.
I'm always going to be happy with more races. Honestly, more
Yeah.
classes I do like, but I know that there is an issue with the balancing. But
Yeah,
being an
100%.
MMO, there's always going to be classes that are at the top and at their bottom. So I don't know
Yeah.
if it bothers me enough that I would say no to a new class.
And I love what they did with augmentation. I like the idea of a support class. I wish they had more support classes. I'm worried though because augmentation kind of it feels like a swing and a miss based on everything I'm reading. I was trying to figure out how to maximize it, and it's pretty hard to get a lot out of it, even at the top tier. It's not really used on a lot of things except for like maybe high end rating. But I'm worried that that's going to send the message that says, "Hey, don't try practicing with support classes in the future."
Right.
But when you put it that way, it's like, well, we only have one support class, really. So
Yeah.
we need a few more options, right?
Yeah.
I was way off. So Dark Iron Doors didn't come in till BFA.
Okay, so BFA was kind of the big push.
That's for all the
more
allied races,
races.
I think
except for Legion.
Legion was Void Elves, Lightforge, Nightborn, and High Mountain.
Yes, I remember the Nightborn because that's that whole area.
And then all the rest came in BFA.
Yeah.
All right, though. I think we're good unless anyone's got anything else.
I was excited to see they're introducing the Arachnaphobia mode. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Crab people.
They're more or less, yeah. They're getting rid of spiders and they're turning them into like crabs and lobsters. And not that I give two shits about spiders; they don't scare me in the game. But maybe turn it on just to have more fun. I don't know.
If you like crabs.
Yeah,
I feel like crabs are still very similar to spiders.
I was going to say the
right?
spiders of the sea.
It's gonna be weird, like that cave in the undead starting area that has all the spiders.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
Or
turn
what
that on,
about
it's just
that-
gonna be a bunch of
The one they
crabs
showed was
in a
it
cave.
a Jol Narub or whatever it was, the full spider dungeon you do in Wrath.
It's all crabs.
That's just
I was
literally
gonna
all
say,
lobsters
what
and
about
stuff.
What about the Ice Crown Citadel? That room with all the spiders that drop down? It's gonna be crabs like falling from the ceiling.
Yeah. It's been fun to see.
All right, though. That's the podcast, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and help support the channel. Find us on YouTube, TikTok, your mom, IG, Facebook as What's My Role or What's My Role MMO.
Hold on.
We play in the Verdant Realm.
What?
I saw it, but I had to read it. Maybe that'll be our thing. I'll just read whatever anybody puts in this bottom
Oh,
section.
no.
You don't want to do that.
Just
Well, I might have to censor myself.
make
if
sure
it gets
Goat
bad.
doesn't hear that.
We play on the Murden Realm on the Alliance side. If you want to apply to join the guild, the Mythic Mafia, join the Discord, introduce yourself, and we'll see what we can do.
We're almost
Thanks for
raid
tuning
ready.
in, though. See you next week.
Later.
Bye.
Later.